Beyond communist labels, critiquing the market and the misconceptions of economic ideologies. The knee-jerk reaction of labeling alternative social or economic perspectives as communist or Marxist without genuine understanding is unfortunately common. It's a simplistic way to dismiss ideas challenging established systems. People tend to gravitate towards these labels because they're familiar or due to a lack of understanding about alternative paradigms. What's essential is recognizing that the spectrum of ideologies isn't just a binary selection of capitalism or communism. These labels emerge from specific historical contexts, often based on assumptions of unlimited resources, which no longer hold true. Acknowledging the need to evolve beyond these ideologies isn't about embracing communism or socialism outright. It's about recognizing the limitations of existing systems and striving for something beyond these constructs, rooted in an understanding of shared resources and universal life necessities. The focus should be on life value analysis, centered on meeting basic human needs and moving beyond political ideologies that might not be equipped to address the complexities of our current world. Rather than relying on convenient labels, it's more productive to engage in discussions that explore innovative solutions based on the contemporary reality of finite resources and global interdependence. The criticism of the market and the promotion of a resource-based economy do not inherently lead to communism. Calling someone a communist simply because they critique the market is a narrow and inaccurate generalization. 1. Oversimplification of economic theories. Labeling someone as a communist based on their criticism of the market overlooks the complexity and diversity of economic theories and ideologies. There is a wide spectrum of economic perspectives between pure capitalism and communism, with various hybrid models and schools of thought. 2. Misinterpretation of a resource-based economy. A resource-based economy does not necessarily equate to communism. A resource-based economy focuses on the sustainable use of resources, emphasizing the value of natural capital and prioritizing the well-being of the environment. This is not exclusive to communist ideology. 3. Conflation of economic and political beliefs. Criticizing market inefficiencies, promoting environmental stewardship, or advocating for equitable resource distribution does not automatically align with communist political ideals. Economic views and political ideologies are distinct domains. 4. Lack of consideration for context. The assumption that market criticism is inherently communist fails to acknowledge the context and motivations behind such critiques. Individuals may criticize market mechanisms due to concerns about social inequality, environmental degradation, or the need for a more sustainable economic system. 5. False dichotomy. Presenting communism and capitalism as the only polar economic options is a false dichotomy. There are numerous economic models and approaches that lie between these two extremes, each with its own unique characteristics and objectives. 6. Over-reliance on historical stereotypes. The association of market criticism with communism often relies on outdated stereotypes and historical events. These stereotypes fail to recognize the evolution of economic thought and diverse economic perspectives that exist today. 7. Disregard for individual liberty. True communism, as traditionally defined, involves centralized control and suppression of individual rights and freedoms. Criticizing market mechanisms does not imply support for such a system. Many proponents of a resource-based economy advocate for individual autonomy, decentralization, and democratic decision-making. Calling someone a communist based solely on their criticism of the market is a reductive and inaccurate argument that fails to consider the complexity of economic ideologies, the nature of a resource-based economy, and the diversity of perspectives on economic systems. What articles like these boil down to is: the Zeitgeist movement, and its leader Peter Joseph, envisions a hypothetical technological utopia in collaboration with the Venus Project. Accusations that the Zeitgeist movement is a cult, which advocates a communist utopia, are just absurd. It is the market which is a utopia, as trade is seen as a perfect equal exchange where both parties mutually benefit, when in reality trade is two parties both trying to screw each other over. Trade is a form of violence in a scarcity-based environment. The term The Zeitgeist movement is actually trademarked to Gentle Machine Productions, which is owned by Peter Joseph, and also the Zeitgeist film series, Interreflections, Culture in Decline are all under copyright. Despite this trademark and copyright, Peter Joseph does not own the Zeitgeist movement's train of thought. The real unofficial Zeitgeist movement is leaderless. Much like the activist group Anonymous, it is decentralized. There is no official Zeitgeist movement. Any claim that there is an official Zeitgeist movement is false, as the word official is related to the word authority. Yet truth is decentralized, not hierarchical. What I'm saying is that there is a difference between the official Zeitgeist movement, where Peter Joseph enforces the copyright of official Zeitgeist movement videos, and the unofficial Zeitgeist movement that regular people support, people who simply like the ideas of the Venus Project and a resource-based economy and make public domain videos that can be re-uploaded by movement members to spread the ideas. You could call the movement many names. The social atmosphere movement, the social paradigm movement, the cultural climate movement, sustainable technology enthusiasts, moneylesssociety.com, resource-based-economy.org, ecological futurists, the Reality of Me Project, and so forth. Terms like conspirituality are simply insults, either through malicious intent or ignorance. They are not proper criticisms of the Zeitgeist movement. Also, the book, Seeing Like a State, are not an accurate criticism of the Zeitgeist movement because it fundamentally misunderstands the movement's nuanced intentions, which focus on ecological sustainability, scientific scrutiny, and systemic change without subscribing to rigid political ideologies. The book, The Blank Slate, The Modern Denial of Human Nature by Steven Pinker, is also referenced by Zeitgeist movement critics. However, Pinker's argument in this Blank Slate book constructs a compelling case that human behavior is influenced by both innate biological factors, meaning genes, and environmental experiences, which is the position of this film. So much for debunking the Zeitgeist movement. Zeitgeist critics like Stefan Molyneux have highly reductionist views of the Zeitgeist movement, saying the Zeitgeist movement is Marxism with robots, whatever that is meant to mean. In a debate between Peter Joseph and Stefan said people who don't like trade can essentially just fuck off and go live in the woods and grow their own food, foregoing the conveniences of modern technology. The first step in a resource-based economy is to take a survey of the planet's resources. This is done so we know what we can do with our resources and technology to meet all human needs. This requires social activism to make people aware of the Venus Project. If a group of people went off into the woods and attempted to start a resource-based economy while the market is still going, it is inevitable that those who advocate the market would shut down such a project, as the market religion is based on aggression, domination, and authoritarianism. Stefan also has no knowledge of the structural violence or the social system violence of the market, and reduces the market to a little girl's lemonade stand. He doesn't understand that a little girl's lemonade stand will make a monetary profit from someone's addiction to sugar, which is immoral. The idea of a little girl's lemonade stand is really market cult indoctrination towards children. Articles like these will say this film is biased, misleading, propaganda without actually providing counter-evidence. Zeitgeist movement critics always have weak and often slanderous arguments against the movement. This is when the information in this documentary is sourced. You can take this documentary's transcript, input it into Microsoft Copilot, and ask what the sources are for the claims made.
A computer will decide where you work, where you live, and what you do, and we'll all live in big communal buildings. That sounds like prison, doesn't it? It is, but see, if you say it with long hair, you talk real soft and condescending and lisping and fake intellectual, and then do, Alex, if you don't agree, you'll be sent to a re-education camp. And then later, the guy, Peter Joseph, comes back and says, I'll come on your show if you apologize for saying I said you'd be re-educated. And I went back and watched the interview, and he said, you'll be sent for re-education. And he went on the phone, he goes, I never said that. We know the truth. Yeah.